Hello everyone and welcome back. Today let's talk about the third Carrie film that has been released theatrically. We have the 1976 Carrie movie, a Brian De Palma's version, and then we got the Rage Carrie 2, which was a sequel to that, and now we come to the 2002 Carrie TV remake. And I don't want to say it's a reimaging of the book because it does one thing that's like the book, or a couple little instances of the book, but honestly, this is literally just the 1976 Carrie movie with inserted scenes after the fact of the massacre. So now it's just literally the exact same movie besides what I said, that they added in the police procedural things where Sue Snell and these other survivors talk about it while the film opens up with the story, as opposed to starting at the beginning, like Brian De Palma's. And this is more accurate to the book. But despite adding in the police scenes, this literally is almost the exact same movie as the original Carrie, but infinitely worse. I'm not going to say the acting in this is the worst. It's not terrible, but it's not great. It's just average acting. But overall, I really couldn't stand this movie. I didn't like the Rage Carrie 2, and I thought that as I've thought about it more, that has more passion and other things in it that I feel like make that movie worth, dare I say, worth actually existing. Like, this movie, this 2002 remake does not warrant existing. Literally, this is so bad. You can say the Rage Carrie 2 doesn't warrant existing either, but I thought in the Rage Carrie 2, at least, even though I didn't like that movie very much, at least that had such, it tried to do different things for the Carrie sequel. Like, it wasn't trying to be the exact same thing like this one. This is literally the exact same thing with a lot of lines exactly the same from the other script or the book or whatever they took it from in the original movie. So this is very much line for line in a lot of ways, with a couple added moments that are more equivalent to the book. Like I said, the moments throughout the movie where Sue Snell and all these people who survived the prom night are being investigated. And there's a scene like with Carrie finding that woman next door, neighbor next door, with her breast, and that brings in the story of the dirty pillows reference, which, okay, that doesn't even matter. It doesn't even need to be in this movie, but that was in the book apparently. And the throwing down rocks from the sky, which the original Carrie didn't do that. Even though it's more accurate to the book, that one didn't do that, but I thought that was a better choice than having that from the book. In this one, it has a lot of little accurate moments to the book, and I haven't even read the book, but I just know that there's things like that, like the rocks falling from the sun, and how it's an after the fact story with just flashbacks of the build up to Carrie. So it has a couple different things about it, but overall it is the exact same script almost of the original Carrie. Like, all these characters say so many lines, it's shot so similarly that it just feels so much like the original Carrie. And in my opinion, just watch the original Carrie. That is one of my favorite horror movies ever. And it's truly moving, truly scary, truly gripping. And this one is just a big shadow of that movie. It's just trying to be the exact same thing with a few alterations that really do not matter. Like I said, I didn't like the Rage Carrie too much, but at least that one did do different ways of making that character Rachel break down at the end of the movie. And I did like Amy Irving, and I thought the violence was kind of cool at the end of that movie. But this one is just pointless. And you know what else it sucks about this movie too? Is that Brian Fuller, the guy who also worked on Hannibal, the TV show, he was executive producer on this. Wow. It's such a weird jump in quality because I've only seen the first season of Hannibal, and it's really, really, it was incredible, the first season. I need to watch the other two seasons, but it's sad to see his name on this because I thought this was terrible, and I thought that he really doesn't deserve to be on this, from what I've seen from his work on that show. And like this movie also has a lot of dumber things than the original movie. Like, for example, in the original movie, whenever Miss Collins, her name in the original, is talking to the principal about Carrie, and he seems like he's not paying attention, so he calls her Cassie, and that causes Carrie to knock over the cigarette ashtray in the original movie. In this one, there's a scene with the principal where Miss Desjardins is the name instead of Miss Collins, the same character, but Miss Desjardins is talking to the principal in this movie and tells him literally right to his face her name is Carrie, and he looks at her and hears her say her name is Carrie, and then not even a split second later it says, "Come in, Cassie." And it's so stupid. Like, in the original movie, that guy, the principal, didn't seem like he was paying attention. In this one, that guy literally looked at her, heard her say the name Carrie, and then he said, "Come in, Cassie," right a split second later. That, to me, was just stupid. Like, what is the deal with that? Like, that's a dumb thing to keep in the movie. And, of course, it's line for line, like the original movie. But that scene pissed me off. And then in the original, like I said, Carrie throws, like, with her ability, she, like, throws the cigarette ashtray, or little bowl or whatever of cigarette ashes off the desk. And in this movie, she moves a steel desk 5 feet, or 5 inches, or whatever, from the spot it was at, and nobody even touched it, and they both looked at her, and nothing came of that. Like, nobody even investigated that. The principal didn't even think about it. Miss Desjardins didn't even think about it. What? In the original, it's more subtle because she just knocks over a cigarette bowl. But in this one, she literally moves a desk, a steel desk, 5 feet. And, like, they don't react or do anything. Either one of them. That's so, like, I don't know. Like, it's so weird how they think that they can get away with something stupid like that. That doesn't arouse suspicion that this person literally, your desk just moves 5 feet from their spot that it was at. That, or 5 inches, I guess. But that is ridiculous. I'm just like, are you serious? God, that really, really pissed me off. And there was one scene in this movie that I actually really did dig, even though this movie is terrible. I liked the scene that they added into this movie with Chris Hargenson's father. Now, I like the fact this scene existed in this movie because it isn't in the original, and I thought that this actually did a good job of, and it does it in the 2013 Chloe Grace Moretz remake too, where, like, the father of Chris comes in and says, like, I'm gonna sue you guys for this, and then I like how in this version, her father, like, says that too. He's like, he argues with the principal, like, "I'm gonna sue you guys, like, you're in trouble for this." And I love the fact that the principal just goes, "Well, we've got 19 different people who have been messed with by Chris Hargenson, and she's been to detention 70 times since she's been in high school and bullied 20 people. So we're gonna take that against you." And I really like that scene. I like that the principal was like, "You're not gonna bullshit me around. We're gonna, like, get you in trouble too because you don't know your daughter. You know what she's like. She's a brat." And I really like that scene. That's the one scene in the movie that I like, that he would file against Chris's father because he doesn't. His daughter, Chris, probably lied to him and told him all this shit that's not true. But I like that the principal went and told him straight up, like, "This is what's going on. She's a horrible person. We can get you in trouble too because of what your daughter isn't telling you." So I like that a lot. So that's the one scene in this movie that I really did actually like a lot. But that 3-4 minute scene does not save this whole movie for me. So everything is basically the same as the original. Then we get to the third act where, everybody, I don't know, like, it just gets it stays so bland like it is throughout in terms of visuals and violence, like the original. And the original isn't really violent, but in terms of, like, how visually, like, kind of horrifying the original is, this one is not. It's got a terrible score that plays during this prom scene, which is completely just this unscary theme that is so dumb. And there's no lighting. It's literally just like Carrie's just sitting there. She knocks over stuff. it doesn't turn red or blue, like it doesn't turn a dark hue where like Carrie looks really scary in the original. In this one, she just stands there. She doesn't even move. She just looks at people and like does the same thing in the original movie, but it's not scary and it's not effective, and it has a terrible score during that scene. And the score overall isn't good, but yeah, it's super ineffective. The score and the final like prom night massacre thing is just ineffective. And I guess there's one thing I did kind of like too. After she goes back to home after the prom, her crazy mother, who I haven't even mentioned in this review because she's so forgettable. Patricia Clarkson, like this actress is so forgettable, and it's unfortunate because I don't know if this actress, she's probably been great in other stuff. I've heard of her before, but I don't know what else she's been in. But she's really bland and just she copies Piper Laurie exactly, like I mean almost exactly to the point where it's just like she doesn't give it her own identity, and that's what most of these characters do. These actors don't give this movie its identity like the original. Like they're just playing off like a police procedural in terms of acting. They're just not anything special. But anyways, the scene I actually do not mind as well. I forgot about this scene while I was talking about the other scene that I liked. I didn't mind the scene where Carrie goes home and the mother tries to drown her. And what Carrie does is that she stops her heart, and she kills the mother with just stopping her heart. Even though it isn't as great as like the original, where like her mother gets like impaled and hooked up like a crucifix, which is incredible. In the original, it's not as effective, of course, in this version. But I liked how Carrie just stopped her mom's heart. Like she literally just like ruptured it, like just gripped it, like basically with her ability. That's really cool. But that's only a split second. And then throughout this movie, you keep getting the police scenes or the investigation scenes with Sue Snell and these other characters who survived. And Sue like says in the investigative scenes like Carrie's missing. I didn't see her. Like she said that she saw her out walking around at night, but she thought it was somebody else. And the truth is, this movie has such a weird ending that doesn't make any sense in terms of adaptation to Carrie. And in terms of just being a weird-ass ending, which I guess I can give them credit for making this ending different than the original book or movie. But it's really stupid because Sue Snell says to the people like who are investigating her, like I didn't find her, and like she covered up that she saw her, like she pretended like she saw, or she told him that she saw her at night after the prom massacre, walking around, and then she just said, oh, I thought I saw her, but I didn't. And then you realize that Sue Snell literally drives Carrie across the country. Like, it's a scene where she's driving her across the country, where Carrie is still alive, she's cut her hair, and they're gonna take her into hiding somewhere. And it ends. And the reason for that is because this was supposed to be a proposed TV show based on Carrie and her surviving, and her and Sue going out and running away from this horrifying thing that happened. Which, again, I give them credit for being different, but also this TV show doesn't exist, and they did that, and like nothing came of this. It's just like with that Bates Motel TV movie that was terrible from the 80s, from 1987. They were going to make a TV show out of that because that was like a startup for that, but then they didn't do anything because nobody cared. And they did the same thing with this movie. Nobody cared about this TV movie, and nobody cared that was going to get a TV show afterward. And anyways, the company that was involved didn't even want to make the movie. Brian Fuller apparently said that they just played around with him and like everybody involved, saying they were going to make a TV show, but then they didn't. I don't know if it was from like people not caring or if they just didn't want to do it, but the studio didn't want to make a TV show. But the ending implied because Carrie survived and Sue and her ran away, it implied that they were going to make a show. So, of course it wasn't. So, wah, 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 we didn't get a TV show. Which, I don't know if that would have been terrible, but the idea of it sounded kind of interesting. Like, I read online, it said they were going to have it to where Carrie is suffering from, like, dealing with all these deaths that she has caused while finding other psychics, which might be good or really bad. So, or could have been good or could have been bad, but we'll never know because we're never going to get this TV show, but with this actress. But overall, this 2002 remake of Carrie, I think, is really bad. I kind of take back what I thought about The Rage Carrie 2. I don't think it's a great movie at all, but I think that it's way better and way more imaginative than this. That one at least does different things with the characters. That one at least has a little bit more passion behind it. That one at least is a theatrical film. Like, this movie looks bad for like a TV movie. Like, I mean, it's a TV movie. It has a TV movie budget, but it looks really bad. And it's just copying the first movie again in a way where it's so insulting. Like, you should just watch the original movie as opposed to this. So this was really, really bad. I really didn't like this movie on rewatch. And I didn't like it the first time I've seen it, but this time, man, this was way worse than I remembered it. And I haven't seen it in years. But man, this was really bad. So that's all I could say about the 2002 Carrie remake, a TV remake. And next up, I will talk about the 2013 Carrie remake, the third Carrie remake that came out, that stars Chloe Grace Moretz and Julianne Moore. And I remember not liking it, but I feel like I'll like it more than this one. I don't know if I'll like it more than The Rage Carrie 2, or if I'll feel equally about The Rage Carrie 2 and the 2013 remake. We'll see, but I'm going to rewatch and review that and see what my thoughts are rewatching it. So overall, this 2002 remake was terrible, and I remember the 2013 remake being alright. So next up is the 2013 remake, the last of the Carrie films. So thank you guys so much for watching. Tell me down below what you think of this horrible movie. And if you like it, that's fine. I just think it's bad. I think it's really terrible. So thank you guys so much for watching, and take care.